Hello, everyone. Welcome back to RVM. My name is Harry, and we are over 2 weeks in the federal government shutdown. We're 20 days into the shutdown, and it seems like home buyers are beginning to back off, and I don't blame them. I mean, there's a lot of economic uncertainty around the shutdown, even as mortgage rates are decreasing. Now, we've opened up the 10-year yield today at just over 4%. So it's still not bad. It's not as good as it was last week when it fell below 4%. However, I think mortgage rates are still going to stay relatively low. The question is, are there enough buyers out there to buy these homes? Okay, so I want to share with you some information here, some data, and maybe we'll start here with an article from Redfin News. It says here, new listings creep up as would-be home buyers back off, haunted by high prices and economic unease. And it starts off by saying that even though mortgage rates are sitting near their lowest level in a year, house hunters are spooked by stubbornly high home prices and jitters about a possible recession and the government shutdown. Um, yeah, this is something that's going to be an ongoing concern. Again, around the government, even if you're in an area that doesn't have a high concentration of federal government jobs, that's something that most economists believe will trickle down eventually. We're going to concentrate really around this area over here, around Washington, D.C., and then we'll make our way down to the south, then to the west here, because I think those where the big numbers are. So the District of Columbia has about 162,489 jobs was the last numbers. Those are big numbers. 162,000 federal government jobs revolving around Washington, D.C. Of course it is, because that's where the heart of our federal government is, and most of the federal jobs. Okay. But of course, what's going to be affected are the states around D.C., right? With regards to Maryland, with regards to Virginia. Virginia has 147,358 jobs. And then Maryland comes in at third at almost 145,000 jobs. Okay. So those are kind of your trifecta of states with high concentration of federal jobs and are impacted by the federal government shutdown. Okay. Then we go down here, next being, actually, let's go out here to the west, because that will come in number four at 150,679 jobs, federal jobs. Then we come down here to the south in Texas at 100 and almost 131,000, 130,686 federal jobs. And we end up here in Florida at 95,167 federal jobs. Now, those are your top six that are over 100,000 or more. But we also got to look at something else here too, right? Not just the number of federal government jobs that these states have, but also the number of federal jobs per capita. So that's another thing that I looked at, because I think even if you have a state that has a lower number of federal jobs, you're still going to have some impact there. If the number of federal jobs per 1,000 in a population are suffering through a lack of funding or being furloughed because of the government shutdown. Okay, so if you look back here, at number one is, of course, the District of Columbia. District of Columbia came in at about 239 federal jobs per 1,000. Okay, 239 per 1,000. That is huge. Now, at a distance, okay, at a far distance would come Maryland, right? Maryland comes in at 23 federal jobs per 1,000. And then number three, it's actually Alaska. Alaska, even though Alaska only has 11,658 jobs, federal jobs, that is, Alaska has 16 federal jobs per 1,000. So Alaska actually comes in third in terms of federal jobs per 1,000. So regards to federal jobs and how this impact the real estate market, obviously that's going to mean several things. But I think one of the top things that's going to happen is you're going to have people that are going to have some trouble paying their mortgages. All right. So hopefully I hope I don't see this, but you're going to perhaps see an increase in possible refinance as people try to curtail the mortgage payments, especially as mortgage rates keep going down. But you're also going to see a lot of homes go up for sale, right? And that's to be expected as this uncertainty continues on. And we don't know what the future holds. But in an attempt to at least try to get around what's happening now, I think one of the things you're going to see is a lot of homes going to market for sale, and that's going to bring down prices. So here's a map that I wanted to show here to show the number of homes that are up for sale in these areas. For the district of, actually starting off here in Maryland, Maryland is at about 23,000 homes for sale. Virginia, remember Virginia having about 147,000 jobs, about 17 jobs per capita, has about almost 36,000 homes for sale. Now, also I want you to look at the days on the market, okay? The days on the market are still pretty good. They're still within 90 days. And they're not creeping up as much as they should, especially in this type of environment. Maryland at 42, Virginia at 39 days. Then we go down here to Florida, right? Look at Florida. Remember, Florida is just under 100,000 federal jobs, or 4 federal jobs per capita. But Florida has the most homes for sale at almost 207,000 homes for sale. And look at the median days on the market. It is creeping up there, almost touching 90 days. It's at 81 days as of September. It's up there. It's up there. Okay. And then you got Texas. Texas at 131,000 jobs for 4 federal jobs per capita. Texas is up there as well. It's about almost 180 homes for sale, and their median days on the market, although below Florida, certainly not within 2 months. Then we got California. California is also pretty high in federal jobs and federal jobs per capita. But they're up there as well for homes for sale. It's about 105,000 homes for sale. But their median days on the market, I mean, they're moving pretty good. And then we have Alaska. Alaska is not that bad, even though their federal jobs per capita is number 3 in the nation. One other thing I want to show as well are just some data behind these 7 states and how things are looking. We'll go into some builders' response to what's happening right now. So this from some data from Redfin here. Median sale price for Virginia is about 456,600, and Maryland is just below that. Of course, District of Columbia, having some more density, is up there, and the median sales price have grown quite a bit, especially for the District of Columbia at 12%, and that's to be expected. Again, density is one factor. It's a very transient city with, of course, a lot of federal workers there, but a lot of homes have also went up for sale in that area. Let's look over here where we can see these 3 states and some salient data over here. The number of homes for sale in Virginia, look at that, it's 36,270, and it's grown by almost 19%. Same thing for Maryland. District of Columbia, not so much, okay? But look at these 2 states, Virginia, Maryland. Virginia and Maryland are sort of the suburbs of the District of Columbia. And so when you got all these federal government workers that work at DC, they kind of go outside of DC in the suburban area of Maryland and Virginia to live. And that's why you're seeing a lot of homes go up for sale in those areas. Now we look at housing demand. Look at the number of homes that are sold above listing price. Number of homes that sold above listing price have dropped, and they're continuing to drop for Virginia, Maryland, and for the District of Columbia. Homes with prices that have dropped have also increased. But the good news is that we're still pretty much in the 90th percentile. So that's not bad. I mean, as long as we are in the high 90th percentile with regards to sale to listing price. That's good. I mean, I think that's still pretty healthy, but these are September numbers. These are not October numbers, and these are not reflecting the government shutdown that started October 1st. Remember, we are in day 20 of the government shutdown, so I can only imagine that these things are going to continue perhaps to get worse because of this. But I do also believe that they will get better once the federal government opens back up. All right. So now let's look at the other 4 states in our 7 states that we've talked about. So the median sales price for Florida, Texas, California, and Alaska. Okay, this is what they look like, and the number of homes sold here have increased for these 4 states. With the median days on the market, remember Florida was really up there at 81 days. Okay, let's look down at the housing supply. Okay, housing supply for these 4 states are, well, remember Florida was number 1 in housing supply, looking at over almost 207,000 homes that were up for sale, right? Then we look at the number of newly listed homes. Okay, the number of newly listed homes for Florida, even though it's up there in housing supply, has decreased by 5%. And remember, these are September numbers, but I think we're going to continue to see these trends here. Now, let's look down here at the housing demand for these 4 states. Homes sold above listing price, that has also dropped, and it has dropped not by much, but it is dropping. And again, we want to look at sales to list price, right? The sales to list price are still up there in the 90th percentile for all 4 states. Florida, Texas, California, Alaska, they range from anywhere between 96.2 to 99.4%. That's not bad. Now, they are dropping, all right? So I can only imagine that that's probably going to get worse. Yeah, I think it's only going to get worse with as long as the federal government shutdown just continues on, okay? But there is a little light at the end of this tunnel. And of course, you probably saw a little bit of it here. The National Association of Home Builders expect a rise in October, all right? There is some confidence that is building up among builders here. Builder confidence in the market for newly built single-family homes was 37 in October, up 5 points from September, and the highest reading since April. According to the National Association of Home Builders, Wells Fargo Housing Market Index, HMI, released today. Now, remember, a lot of the federal data will not be out until the shutdown ends. But the National Association of Home Builders, they do a lot of their own survey, pretty accurate as far as what they surveyed. They got good ties with a lot of builders around the nation. So they're seeing some confidence among home builders, and a lot of that could be because of the price of these materials that are needed to build homes have gone down quite a bit, and also some demand. All right, but if we look at what that confidence looked like for quite some time, it kind of hovered around 32 quite a bit. All right, so the last time in September we were at 32. Now it's climbing back up to 37, according to National Association of Home Builders and their latest numbers. So that's what we got right now. Just remember those 7 states are going to be highly impacted by the federal government shutdown. Now, the good news is that in 6 out of the 7 states, the top jobs as far as federal government work is concerned are mostly military, Department of Defense work, and veteran as well, Department of Veterans. And the only reason why I say that may be some good news is because the current administration is really, really strong on those particular department and making sure that they stay funded even during this shutdown. And any moves that they're going to make, that the executive department is going to make during the shutdown, it's going to perhaps revolve around, of course, the defense of our country, both domestic and abroad. And so I don't see those departments getting impacted much. Okay, but Alaska, although just under 50% Department of Defense, it does have also the Department of Interior and the Department of Transportation. So those might get affected. So even though Alaska is, doesn't have as many federal government workers, it did come in number 3 as far as federal government workers per capita. So that's something to look at. But this is where we're at again, 20 days into the government shutdown. We are still seeing the impact of that in our real estate markets, and we won't know what that really look at until they open back up and we see some numbers, or by the end of this month. Okay. So thank you again for joining us at RVM. And again, we do have a newsletter that you can sign up for free for some valuation insights. Please hit that like button and subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video.